Yes, Acre.
Let's go.
Welcome back, guys. This is episode 3. We're here talking about Brotherhood today. It's gonna be a really fun conversation. We got a couple guests, hopefully coming. They're coming from way out of town, world travelers, as you'll find out later.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully they come.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see.
But so today we want to talk about Brotherhood. What is Brotherhood? How it influences your life, and why is it important, or why isn't it important? And brief description of just where your family and how many brothers you might have, and just we can start there and break it down along the way.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I come from a pretty big background of brothers. I have 4 of them. So I have quite a few. I come from a large family. We all grew up together. We're all pretty similar in age, except for the youngest one.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest was 8 years older than me. The second one was 6 years older than me. And I have a brother who is 2.5 years younger than me. So yeah, we all grew up very, very close to each other, very close to one another, did a lot of the same things, interested in a lot of the same things. And it really shaped us into very similar people growing up, I think.
At what age do you think you were closest with your brothers?
Ooh. Actually, I would probably say that we're all like closer now than we ever were back then. Back then, growing up, there was a lot of like rivalry in terms of just different things that we were doing, especially with my older brother, who was very involved with sports, particularly the same sports that I was interested in as well as I was kind of growing up. That was most likely due to the fact that, I was just interested in the same things as my older brother, which I think a lot of people are, right? We tend to have the similar interests in the people that we're most similar to, right? So I had the same interest in like basketball, diving, swimming, and this kind of drove a wedge in between us. There was a healthy rivalry, obviously. It didn't cause us to like drift apart or anything like that. But I wanted to be better than them. So, but all that rivalry has basically gotten like pushed aside now, and now we're all just kind of like free, freelancing. Everything's kind of doesn't really matter, what we kind of do. If we're better than one another, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, because it's all about just success and being successful, and it looks different for each person. And before we dive too far into Brotherhood, I think we should try to define what Brotherhood is.
Sure.
And if it a question that I think a lot of people will have, is it only confined to blood relatives? Is it only just brothers? So what's your opinion on just Brotherhood in general? Like, what is it?
Well, Brotherhood is definitely not something that is just connected by blood. I think a lot of people have people that they consider to be brothers that they're not necessarily related to in any sort of stretch other than the fact that they just happen to really be good friends with this person, right? A lot of people are really good friends. I think what really drives brothers together is not the fact of whether or not they might be related to one another or not, but more so that they are two, men or a group of men that are really desperately trying to make one another better and bring each other to like a better place up ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all have like the same goals. We want to keep each other in check, and we want to keep each other in the straight line towards where we want to go, right? Brothers stay close. Enemies stay far apart. There's 2 different collisions happening. Brothers do it because they want to stay close to each other. Enemies do it because they want to put the other person down.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And so you talked about Brotherhood can also be outside of blood, which I agree with. When you have siblings, you're blessed with siblings, blessed to have brothers, and say there's some sort of adversity between you, say you're competing for the same kind of thing, whose side do you stand on? Do you always stand on your brother's side, or in certain cases could you stand on against your brother with your non-blood related brothers?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by like going against and going for.
I guess what I'm more alluding to is Logan Paul and Jake Paul. They're some of the probably most famous brothers.
Sure.
Them and the Tates. We'll touch on the Tates in a little bit, but Logan Paul and Jake Paul just had a huge argument on a podcast a couple weeks ago, where Logan was constantly putting Jake down, saying, "You took this fight from me. I'm better at you. I would beat you." Not praising him for what he's done and not working together.
Yeah.
And what that did is show Logan in a very negative light.
Yeah.
and Jake had to go on the offensive. They're not united.
Yeah.
And maybe if they do feel that way, I think that's something brothers need to talk about, not in front of a camera.
Right.
Something they have to deal with outside of that. But what is your opinion on that specific scenario?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I want to get your opinion too. Personally, I think it's like, you know what I was talking about when I was younger, and me and my brothers had those rivalries where we just desperately wanted to do stuff better than one another, right? My brother, who was playing basketball, wanted to play at a certain level because he wanted to maintain the title of the best basketball player, right? Or the
Yeah,
best diver, or the best swimmer, right? And I wanted to overcome that, and I wanted to beat it, right? It's just a sign of Logan Paul is just really immature. There's really no other way to say it. He's just
100%.
extremely immature, and he hasn't grown up from that point where it never went from I'm competing against my brother to I'm competing with my brother, right?
Yes.
They never united in the way that brothers are supposed to eventually unite. You know, our competitive spirit is supposed to be what drives us together in the end, right? We just want what's best for one another. Whereas before, when we were younger, we wanted what was best for ourselves, right? And that's still Logan Paul to this day. Logan Paul just wants what's best for himself. He doesn't want anything to do with Jake because Jake has shown up Logan in so many cases. Jake is the better boxer. That's just a fact.
It's 100% a fact.
He's honestly
proven.
Jake Paul had the harder position in making money off of what he did than Logan Paul did. Up until the point that Logan Paul did his controversy and stuff like that. But even that, you can learn up to like the only reason Logan Paul has a platform today is not because of anything that he did, but rather what KSI did to basically raise him from the dead. Jake Paul never had that moment. Like,
no.
I think Logan Paul has a lot of resentment for Jake because he has a lot of jealousy of what Jake has been able to, succeed in and what Jake Paul has not failed in. Logan Paul has failed in every measure that Jake Paul has succeeded in. And that's just true.
It's true. I think
he succeeded, better than we have, but
yeah, but it is what it is. But I think
Paul,
you hit it nail on the head. KSI resurrected Logan's career with that boxing match. Logan was out, down, and now he's back in this. But he lost to KSI.
Yeah.
He lost to Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He can argue all day long that I won. It does nothing. You lost. It's in the record books.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back, learn from it, and continue moving forward. You can't go looking at the past. And Jake is just better. He had a rough time in the beginning of his career on YouTube, doing what he was doing, just being
supremely hated.
Yeah, he was just being a young kid making dumb mistakes. You just saw he had no guidance.
Yeah.
I know that their father figure wasn't really around all the time, and so they had no guidance with a masculine figure in their life.
Mm-hmm.
They just got lucky, got tons of money, producing these videos, and then Jake found boxing. Mm-hmm. He works hard in boxing constantly, and he's just getting better.
Yeah.
And I think we try to wrap back into brotherhood. You can never go against your brother. It's your brother first. I believe blood comes first.
Yeah.
If you have an issue with your brother behind closed doors, do not. I know you're on the internet. Don't make it about the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I love my brothers. We do amazing stuff with each other. We've had a lot of fun. If there's ever an issue, I'm not going to go straight to the camera and start talking about, hey, my brother did this. Chris didn't play Fortnite with me the other day. I'll never say that. I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
And you look at the example that Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have given for young men who have brothers.
Yeah.
They stand with each other, thick and thin, better or for worse. How men should with their brothers.
Yes.
That example, whether you like them or not, for brotherhood, that's fantastic.
It's a true example of brotherhood.
It really is. They share everything. They work hard together, and they never put each other down. If something happens, they'll be quiet, very poised and stoic, and work through it.
Yeah.
Even the men that they've surrounded themselves with all act the same way.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking, I believe it was Justin Waller. I could be butchering his last name. They trust each other with everything.
Yeah.
So say they're out to dinner, and Andrew, the girl's there, whatever. Andrew goes to the bathroom. Andrew is comfortable enough with his family and with his brothers that they won't try to belittle Andrew, say something mean to the girl, or any kind of thing negative. They're just strong and they trust each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's clips all over the internet about, we'll use Logan Paul as another example,
Right.
is that a cast member walks off and they just immediately start bashing them, come
Mm-hmm.
back, act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
You can't be a snake.
Yeah.
Don't be a snake.
No, I mean, it's like there's two different ways of looking at it. There's a good group, what you might call Band of Brothers, right? The show Band of Brothers, which is a great show if anyone wants to watch it on HBO, is about this group of people who are fighting for the U.S. Army. Oh, and some characters from the British Army as well. But it's mainly about this group from F Company in World War II, and they're like that. They stand through all of this terrible warfare from D-Day all the way to Berlin. Finishing the war, all the hardship and stuff like that, and all the terrible stuff that they do to one another as well. There's weak moments that everyone has in their lives. They never take it out on one another to prevent them from what their ultimate goal is, which is to get to Berlin. But for example, another example of brotherhood, you know that type of brotherhood is different from Logan and Jake's, because Logan and Jake, it's more about just overcoming the other one and becoming better than the other one, rather than raising that person up with you. In
Yes.
this, in the sense of like Justin Waller, Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate, their cousin Luke. I don't know if his last name's Tate.
Could be.
They raise
Yeah.
one another up. They go up. They improve themselves so that the others will follow, right? They raise the threshold so that everyone can attain the same thing. They don't do it simply because Andrew doesn't improve. Like, he doesn't work out simply so that he can be stronger than Tristan. He works out so that Tristan will also work out to become as strong as him. They'll basically
Yes.
both attain the same status at the same time. It's raising the status of the group, right? That's what true brotherhood is. It's everyone raising up one another to get up to the same goal, right?
100%. And all men need to be doing that with each other.
Yeah.
We need to be always pushing each other to be the best person you possibly can be. If your buddies are telling, hey, dude, have another drink, I'll do all this, and they're not helping you, they're not your true buddies. They're not your brothers. And to differentiate who your actual brothers are
Mm-hmm.
versus who your brothers are, your friends, it's really hard to do. A good way to figure out who's really by your side is work hard at something. Try to achieve something that you might not have thought was possible for you.
Yeah.
If it's go try to bench 225 pounds, if it's try to go start a podcast, whatever
Mhm.
it may be, see who, when you're running for, who's running by your side, who's
Yeah.
helping you. People that are ignoring you say, hey, nah, you can't do that. Let's just go do this. Those aren't your true brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to find who you are brothers with and move forward. Build them up, and your life will be completely different than it would
Yeah.
have otherwise have been. And so we're kind of on that topic, but what makes brotherhood important, and why we can't speak for women, but why is it so important for men to have a good group of men around them?
I think going back to what we were doing before last week when we were discussing characters and stuff like that, what it means to have a good character. I think having brothers keeps you accountable,
Mm-hmm.
especially having someone like an accountability partner almost, right? An accountability partner, if you're telling them like you have all these goals in life, you need someone to tell you to follow those goals, and you need someone to keep you in check with those goals that you're doing, right? It's much harder to follow. Anyone can say this, right? It's much harder to follow through on a goal when there's no one there to tell you, like, hey, how are you doing on your goal? Or like, hey, what have you been doing to get to your goal, right? When there's no one there to ask you those questions, it's much harder to attain that goal. It's really hard to go through things alone, which
Yeah.
is why I think we have such a big problem with depression in this country, is because a lot of people do go through a lot of stuff alone, right? But part of the reason of having that is to hear that other person care about you, right? To have them care about what it is that you're trying to accomplish. This could be something as simple as you would just want to build more muscle at the gym, or you're trying to get a specific type of job, or you're creating some company, right? Like you're doing any of these little goals, right? So having someone there to just ask you the questions, like, how are you doing? huge
I
because it just keeps you in the right mindset, right? Because you have to focus on that. It's harder to ask yourself questions and keep yourself focused on something, but it's a lot easier to focus on something when someone is grueling you about it. And that's what
100%.
brothers do.
I agree, and I think if we look at just on our biology for men of why being around other men just helps us in general, goes back iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
If one person's succeeding somewhere else, they're going to push everyone else to succeed in that same realm
Yeah.
and constant improving. And I believe it probably was Andrew Tate talked about nothing's better than sitting with your boys and just BSing.
Yeah.
You like the world could be burning around you. You have your brothers around you.
Yeah.
You don't care about anything. You're just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And men need that constant competition. They need
Yeah.
to know that, hey, this guy's doing this. All right, let me try to do it better.
Yeah.
Not putting them down,
Yep.
but just that friendly competition and wanting the best for each other
Mm-hmm.
is huge. And you're seeing that a lot now in smaller little groups. You have the gym guys.
Yeah.
Your gym partner, you're always working out with each other. You are pushing each other. You have that little bit of safety knowing that if you fail on this bench, your buddy's got you.
Yeah.
But you see them improving, you want to improve.
Mm-hmm.
When I was working out with your brother David, I was able to bench more than he was because I'm a little older. I've worked out a little bit longer than he has, and his weight jumped incredibly high, really quickly because I was pushing him
Mm-hmm.
because I was pushing more weight.
Yeah.
And so it made him like, I can do this. And he had that safety net of me holding the weight there if he failed, and he just kept pushing. That's where I feel like where a lot of men are missing is that camaraderie, that true brotherhood to push to be better.
Yeah. And we love it. Like, it's different because I think this is what really separates men and women, because I'm not belittling the other position, but like when women are in groups like this, it's not the same sense of like camaraderie where we're like truly pushing each other to like really, really become better.
Are you saying men and women are different?
I might be, yeah.
Wow.
I might be, yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
I know, super controversial.
It's nuts.
Right?
Who would have thought
Yeah.
that we're different? But continue.
No, yeah, I don't think that women are capable of pushing each other in the same way that men are without making it seem like it's more like abrasive. Like, we don't do things. This is what makes brotherhood so special. Is like you can push someone super hard and it's not abrasive. You can push someone to their absolute limit. You can call them a terrible human being. You can tell them everything that they are, right? Just absolutely make them feel totally humiliated. And it comes across as like one of the greatest gestures of all time, right? Because
it baffles me still.
exactly. Like some men can just take it, and that's what really like. If you can take something like that from someone that you know, that I think is a huge sign of brotherhood, because it means that you have respect for that person, right?
100%. Well, next, go back to saying iron sharpens iron. If I'm going to be pushing you, I want to push you so hard that the issues of the world seem like nothing to what we've been through together in our little circle.
Yeah.
Right? We just got to keep pushing and challenging each other to just get better in every realm of human endeavor. That's just facts. And we're losing that. And we can go on about brotherhood. I love talking about brotherhood. The aspects of a male's relationship with each other is just baffling. I don't think a lot of people understand how basic it really is.
Yeah. Well, and also brotherhood has become so poisoned today, right?
Masculinity and brotherhood, 100%.
Exactly. Like the two things have become so poisoned to the point that they resemble nothing that they ever did throughout the entire course of human history.
Yeah.
Right? Brotherhood is raising other men up to become better than what they are right now. Right? And we don't do that anymore. Everything is so self-centered. Everything is so separated, independent from one another, right? You do things by yourself, like videos of guys who go to it's kind of interesting. It's like a new phenomenon, like gym bros.
Yeah.
Like gym bros are people, like just individuals that go to gym, rather than like people that actually go with their friends. Like, I think it's really important to go to the gym and have like a group of people that you go to the gym with. I actually think that it probably makes it, like, for example, you were just bringing up when you were working up with my brother David.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how he was growing at such a pace that it was almost like staggering, right?
Yeah.
And that's because he had you, because he was trying to compare himself. He wanted to reach your level, right? And it was harder for you to really improve as much as he was. One, because you were
In
closer
bench,
to your cap.
100%.
But if you had someone like Larry Wheels or something like that,
Yeah.
just some really massive guy,
Yeah.
you would grow at a mind-staggering pace compared to him,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're comparing yourself to him now, and you're seeing what he's doing. Like, it's so important to have people that do that. Like, you're an accountability partner for him in that instance, because he wants to improve so badly because he's with you,
Yeah.
right?
That point, actually, Alex Herrera, if you heard of him, he just released a book. I think it's $1 million leads, $100 million leads, something like along
Alex
those lines.
Hormozy?
That's could be his last
Yeah,
name. I'm
that's Alex
horrible with last
Hormozy.
name.
Yeah,
He's a genius,
yeah, he's a great
absolute
guy.
genius.
Yeah,
I was watching a video today. He literally said exactly what you said.
yeah,
He saw his most gains in the gym when he was working out with somebody better than him.
yes,
Because and
100%.
that also goes outside of just the gym. The gym's just a really easy place to look at it. It's very measurable.
Yeah,
Oh, I went from benching 150 pounds to 225 pounds. Easy. If you take that outside of the gym into the real world, into the business world, and stuff like that, you still need to surround yourself with people that are better than you.
yeah.
So they're paving the way. They're teaching you. You
Mm-hmm.
see their failures, and you can be way better than you were quicker.
Yeah.
So if you were better than us, please let us know, and we will follow you and produce a better podcast.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, we're waiting for your call.
Joe Rogan's coming next week.
He is. He already sponsored Alpha
Yeah.
Brain.
No, he's not. I'm sorry.
We
That
can-
was
it's
a
not
really
sponsorship.
cringy joke. I'm sorry.
We were cringy. It does happen.
Yeah.
But I think we're at a good spot to introduce our first guest.
Yeah. Let's do it.
First guest ever on the show, which is actually really cool.
Yeah.
It's see how it works out. But so our first guest we'll be introducing is Justin Kelly. He is from Ohio. He graduated from Mount Union.
A brother.
He is a brother. He's the oldest of 3 siblings, and he's also a world traveler.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring on Justin.
Yeah.
Justin Kelly, great to have you on.
Great to be here.
So you're a world traveler. You have siblings. We're talking about Brotherhood today.
All right.
And we'll start with it. What is important about Brotherhood? What is Brotherhood?
I mean, brotherhood starts from when you're basically a toddler. Like, it starts in the family and stays in the family your whole life, and then it incorporates your friends. I mean, I grew up with 2 younger brothers, so brotherhood has been a part of my life ever since I can remember. So it's always been like a core foundation for my family life, my personal life, and just how I live. So, I mean, short answer, it's really about as important as it gets.
How does someone find Brotherhood?
So, I mean, some brothers you're born with, obviously. In the case of, I mean, you have brothers too.
Yeah.
So, we are born with some of our brothers, but other brothers outside of your family, you can find them. You make memories, you gain experiences, and you bond with them over time. You don't have to be blood related to have brothers. So a lot of the people that I would consider to be brothers are people that I've just done things with over time, and we have so many experiences, so many memories that we've bonded over that they feel like a brother.
Yeah, and that's super, super important. And I think a lot of issues we have nowadays is you have those experiences, but some people aren't true brothers. So with someone making friends and finding Brotherhood, how can they differentiate just between a friend and a true brother? If that makes sense.
I mean, in my opinion, true brothers will prioritize each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can message a buddy and you can say, hey, I need something, and he might just say, oh, good luck, but I'm busy tonight. Or you could message somebody and say, hey, I'm in a tough spot, can you help me out? And they drop everything they're doing and they're there for you.
Yeah,
that's a brother. And sometimes even people in your own family don't meet that qualification. There are brothers that you're born with that don't treat you like a brother. And so, it's just, brotherhood is really just about the way you treat the people you care about.
I couldn't agree more. And treating people with respect having each other's back and pushing each other to be better is a beautiful thing that especially brotherhood and men are able to do with each other.
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. Brothers want to grow together,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And you have to be doing that. And as men, we need to be constantly challenging each other.
Yes.
I mentioned earlier in the show about iron sharpening iron,
Yes.
and that could not be more true. If we all wanted to be lazy, we'd all just be lazy. But when you see someone being successful, it just you have to be
drives
successful.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's just a huge thing about brotherhood among the boys. We do better together when we push each other, when we challenge each other. Whether we go out and we just do something simple like play sports together, or we have a deep conversation together. We're always pushing each other to be better versions of ourselves, and it's just huge. It's something that you can't find outside of brotherhood, really.
You can't, and it's hard to even put your thumb on it. It's special.
Yeah, either that bond, either that is there or it's not. Either that ability between you and your buddies is there or it's not.
Yeah, and you can't fake it. You can't try to make it happen. If it's not working, it's just not working. And we just need to constantly be pushing each other. And I'm glad that we've known each other for a little while. We're hanging out more and we're pushing each other.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're on here now. We're trying to make this happen, and we really appreciate you being here and
I'm honored to be here,
helping us. And you'll be back on again. We'll continue just this kind of conversation and keep going forward. Justin, is
100%.
great to
It's
see
awesome.
you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First interviews went really well. That was awesome. I really appreciate Justin and Christian coming on and
that was fun.
being on our podcast. I think we had a lot of good points that we talked about throughout this episode. And one point I want to dive into more in episode 4 is masculinity.
Sure.
I think that is a broad subject that is people don't understand what it truly is anymore, because the term toxic masculinity, who you see who's supposed to exemplify masculinity and who's actually being a good example for masculinity. So just want to thank everybody for being here. Episode 3. It's fantastic. Ben, do you want to wrap it up for us?
Yeah. Guys, like we tried to push in this thing, you need to find your group of people, right? This goes for girls too, right? You find your group of people, because really what this all comes down to at the core is camaraderie. Find your group, find your camaraderie, become better, and make other people better. That's what this is really about at the core, right? That's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we want to talk about these topics. That's why we want to have these conversations. And that's why we want to do it for you. We're making each other better. We're making ourselves better. I think we're going to wrap it up at that. So,
heck yeah.
I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share with all your friends, everything. We're out.